Yeah, no, it ended up being Goken. They ripped Goken into it, who would be like Ryu's kind of trainer, and it was Goken that they ended up being the Shenlong. And I think in Street Fighter 4, it's one of his sayings when he defeats people. So Goken would actually turn around and say, "You have to beat me to stand a chance," which is like a big throwback to the very first Street Fighter 2 game. But by Street Fighter 2 Turbo came out, I never saw that because they actually fixed the translation for it all, and he actually says, "You'll have to beat my Dragon Punch or some shit to stand a chance." So they actually fixed the translation for the next games. But yeah, Shenlong never actually existed in the second one. I remember my mates sitting down. I remember them convincing me to sit down. It was like, "Oh, try and beat like M. Bison without taking a hit. So go to a draw, but without taking any damage either of you." And I was like, "How are you fucking supposed to do that in the last boss? I've just done like
just jump, just constantly jump.
I've just done like 10 rounds or like before that, and the game gets progressively harder as you go along. Now, how am I supposed to go to a double draw with M. Bison with fucking like without taking any damage?" But we never got to it, and then it turns out it was just a big hoax apparently from some gaming magazine. But yeah, those are the two games that came out. So I had Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I had Mortal Kombat 2 as well. And those are the two that I think I remember playing most at home and with my mates as well.
This is pretty much where me and you became friends, because this is something, obviously, one of the big connections we always say is Power Rangers, because that's something we used to play outside all the time. But when we first met, I can pretty much remember me and you, like you with your consoles, me coming up and joining you for Mortal Kombat 2. I'm pretty sure we used to play Mortal Kombat 2 all the time. I just remember it in your bedroom, just sitting.
Yeah. I mean, both those games were one of those things where when someone comes to your house and you want a co-op game, you'd be going straight to Mortal Kombat 2 or the Super Street Fighter 2, whichever was, you know, your mate's favourite game at that time. Which yours was, from the sounds of it, you prefer to play Mortal Kombat. So if you remember playing Mortal Kombat 2 at mine, that would have probably been your choice to play more Mortal Kombat 2. So I'm good either way. I just love the games.
No, I think purely because I remember you'd only just got Mortal Kombat 2. That's what I remember on it, because then I remember us then playing Street Fighter, and I remember us playing a lot of Street Fighter afterwards. So I'm assuming it's something we went back to. It's not like a hard memory. It's just I remember one of the first things me and you ever did was play Mortal Kombat 2. That's one of my earliest memories of us. And Mortal Kombat 2, for me, when it came along, obviously, I never had it. This is where I never had that. So it was always played at a friend's house. And it was exciting for me. I'm going to play Mortal Kombat. I think probably why we didn't play Street Fighter was because I had Street Fighter 2 and I could play that at home. More than likely.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, that could have been exactly that. And that's the thing, though. Those are those games that you want to play with your friends. You know what I mean? It's all right playing it on your own, but it really kicks off when you can have those little competitions of who's better. You know, who's better at Street Fighter, who's better at Mortal Kombat.
Oh, this is probably where you know, because we've played games together. We still play games now. That I've always just been a trier. I always play the games. I always put my heart and soul into it, but come on, man.
Yeah, you're the guy that I call up when I've had the shit kicked out of me by one of my other mates, and I'm like, you know what? I fancy just cheering myself up and kicking the piss out of something.
Are you basically telling me this is why we've got such a strong relationship since the early 90s? Basically, you've been like, I'll bring Ryan over. I know I'm going to beat him. It'll make me feel good. Yeah,
you're my pick me up. You're the person that I go to beat at games to make myself feel better when someone better than me has beat me.
Dude, that's literally just taken away like 30 years worth of friendship. But no,
it's a bit like kicking a puppy, isn't it?
It's a little bit, because like I kind of feel good. Like I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I can do that for you. But also, you're a dick.
Yeah, I really am. But then we're going into like '94 now. This is where they started to step into movies, wasn't it?
Oh, this is your favourite section of what we've been dying to talk about. Street Fighter came out in 1994.
So shit.
I promise you, like, we've been doing our research this week. I'll do Street Fighter movie. I kind of feel like I need to watch it. But then I couldn't
watch it again. Like, I've gone back and I've watched some of the stuff again, but I remember watching Street Fighter when it came out, and I was psyched for a Street Fighter movie. And I remember watching it, and I was just like, this doesn't feel much like Street Fighter. Like, you had like E Honda was a fucking cameraman or some shit, and like he was that fat guy in the truck that was just eating, and it was like, what the fuck? Like, they've done that to E Honda, and Chan Li was a news analyst or something, and she didn't really get a costume till like later on, did she? But it was like there weren't much in it. There was like, where was all the Hadoukens and the Shoryukens? And
this is exactly where my thoughts went with, right? Because obviously I was confident when we used to come up, we're going to do Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. I'm going to watch Street Fighter. I just thought, it was. I remember being excited. Then I started to remember Street Fighter. And this is where I said to you, I just purely looked at clips. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And the first clip I went with is the clip that instantly made me think of this film and let me slow it down. What did I say before? Blanka was my favourite character back then.
Yeah.
Blanka
I remember it was like some science experiment from what I can remember or something.
Oh,
and
holy
he'd, like,
fuck, dude. I was so excited to see this fucking guy come out of this tank. He come out and the guy looks like a cross between a bad in 70s Incredible Hulk, a Cardassian from Star Trek, and Carrot Top, the comedian, with the orange hair that just stuck up. He weren't even jacked like the Hulk.
That is a lot of splicing.
Dude, I watched the clip again the other day. He's got like the veins down the head, like the kind of things like I said, like the Cardassians. His chin is like the Incredible Hulk. His shoulders look like Mr. Muscle, and he's got Carrot Top's hair. And I was like, I just remember watching that going, but he's all right. He's going to do his electric arm thing in a sec. I don't remember what that was called. He's just gonna. It looks like he's wanking. He's getting electricity from it. He's gonna do that thing. That's why I like playing him, because I knew if I just stuck that out, people weren't gonna get to me. That's exactly my defense.
I couldn't. I remember it being bad when I was a kid, and like if I remember it being bad when I'm 9 years old, it's gonna be bad now when I'm 35. Like I couldn't bring myself to watch it again. I know it's a shit movie. It was a write-off. It did nothing for me in terms of Street Fighter. I was like, I just didn't like it. But just a bad movie. Not even Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was like flavour of the month back then for martial arts movies, could save it.
But then I think purely because, and again, I love Jean-Claude back then, but now watching it, he had a lot more like emotional dialogue, if that makes sense. For it shone through that he had too much of a story. He should just be the guy that he's like the quiet guy that turns up and starts kicking fuck out of people. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got a quite a strong accent. Not knocking his accent, but it was more believable when he was the underdog that rose up and then he started getting confident. Him being Guile, it was Guile, right?
Yeah, Guile.
He's Guile, so
didn't even have the hair.
Guile, he's got two. I don't know. You didn't believe him as Guile at all. Again, no hair, and then like you say, not one. Like you said earlier, not one bit of their moves were brought into the movie. Well, that's why we played the game.
Yeah, it's like, where's the Sonic Boom from Guile? Like, Sonic Boom.
Where's the Hadouken? Where's the arm? The only thing they had was M. Bison with a bit of electricity. At the very end, he had that bit of electricity. Yeah,
I slightly remember him doing something like that, but then, there was just nothing in that film that was any good. And
I disagree with you there. One thing that I did love was M. Bison, the guy that played M. Bison. I apologise if I get this wrong. Raul Julia, I think that's how he was. Guy that played Gomez in Adam's Family Values. He was M. Bison. Him, other than like he didn't have his...
I'd never tied that together. That is, Gomez.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be fucked.
How did you not get that? All you've got to do is put a moustache on him. He's Gomez.
Well, yeah, I can see that now. I'm looking back on it, but like I've never tied them two together. I think it's because I've not watched it since I was like 9, really. But yes, now you've said that, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this because he passed away not long after. By the time the film come out, I think he was either passed away just after it come out. So that was
he's dead.
But he's one thing I have to say that I loved about that film was him as M. Bison. He was the best part of a crap movie. He was believable. It wasn't the M. Bison we was expecting.
Yeah, maybe. But so we've done obviously the movie, and then this is where it starts to go a bit eerie for me with the Street Fighter games, because then there was like between like the 95 and like 98 they brought out the Alpha series of the Street Fighter games.
Never played any of them.
No, well, this thing I think I remember from this point onwards, like now I was like nitpicking games.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't play. I think there was like 3 in the Alpha series, 3 games, and I didn't play 1, 2. I think I had 3 on the PlayStation 1, and I remember playing that. And I remember the art style, and I thought, oh, mate, this is like amazing. Like the art style of this is amazing compared to the previous Street Fighters. So I remember playing that one, and it was very much like the old Street Fighters. Now, apparently it's some of the best games in the Street Fighter series, from what I've heard. But I don't remember playing too much of them. But I think that might have been because Mortal Kombat 3 came out around about the same time, around about that 95 era. But I remember a mate had Mortal Kombat 3 first. And I went round there, and I remember he was fuming because there was no Scorpion in it. And it was like, he's a big character. And I remember him like, it was his favourite character because who was your guy in Mortal Kombat? Who would you go? Who's your go-to guy?
Scorpion or Sub-Zero.
It might have even been you I was playing with. It was Pierce, but there was someone that I was playing with, and I remember they had the game, and there was no Scorpion, and they were fucking fuming.
It could be me. I was just about to say, this is the Mortal Kombat that I
turned you off Mortal Kombat. Like,
this is
literally out. I'm not playing it anymore.
The game. I remember the game and the film coming out in the same year. I remember the game and the film coming out in the same year. Mortal Kombat 3 came out, and I'm sitting there. I remember because when I was doing my research, I remember reading that there was no Scorpion, and I remember being so pissed. I was pissed off that there was just no Scorpion. Like,
this is the thing. This is the funny thing is that I never had Mortal Kombat 3 when it came out, but literally, I think there was 6 months later they released Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which had like more characters, which also included Scorpion. So a lot of people that were pissed off about not having Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 3, I went and bought Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and I had Scorpion in my game,
Ash,
and I didn't even play him.
This ain't even about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. This is just reminding me of the times when me and you have had rivalries. You're right, because now I remember you got the one with Scorpion. I ain't fucking happy, because I ain't getting that one. I've got Mortal Kombat 3.
I was always Sub-Zero. The only disappointment I had was Sub-Zero wasn't really like Sub-Zero anymore. He was like that Sub-Zero's brother or something with the scar down his face or some shit. But like he still had the same movesets and shit with a couple of upgrades. But I remember Mortal Kombat, or the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, had a new character that I then started using, like Cabal or Cable or whatever his name was. He used to do some like fucking tornado spinning moves, and he would have this like dash move that would like zip right through you. A lot like the Flash does in the new Injustice games, where he like zooms past you and sends you spinning type thing. But it was like the early Flash in those games, I guess. But I then switched off of playing Sub-Zero and went more towards playing with like Cable.
I think that. I remember MK3 being the one where people ventured out more, like you say. Like who was the new ninja in MK3? Reptile had already been. Was he playable in MK3?
Was it Imak? Maybe might have been the new character in it. I know they had loads. They had like Noob Sabot, which I think was already kind of playable in like Mortal Kombat 2. There was a load of the different ones, but the main ones I remember in terms of like new characters was my little brother's one. He was always Striker. It was like the cop with the guns. So it probably worked for him because he could stay the fuck away from any of my attacks from halfway across the screen and fucking shoot me. And I'd be like, "Oh, you cheating motherfucker!" It was like you couldn't even get close to me. Like, bah, 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 always using his fucking machine guns on me. But you had Striker, who was like the police officer with the guns. Cabal, the one with the spinning and zoom attacks, which I really liked. I think I probably chose him because it was a way to gain some ground on my fucking little brother every time he was trying to shoot at me from a distance. And then, played a little bit of Sub-Zero as well. And obviously, you got to play your character again, but on my game.
This is what I'm saying. Like, this is just reminding me where we've always kind of had like there's always been a rivalry with geekiness.
Oh yeah, we've always been competitive.
Being competitive with each other. Like I said, I gave up with the games, but this is it. You were getting. This is where you've always been. You still do it now with TV series. I'll wait till the whole series is out before I watch it, and I've already watched it, and I know whether to be happy or disappointed. But you then go, you know then whether to watch it or not because you've seen other people's reactions. And then you get into...
No, I think I'm just spoiled. I don't like the long game. Like, I can't sit there... Like, this is 2020 now. Or 2021 now, actually. And I feel like I shouldn't have to wait a week to watch episodes. Like, Netflix... I think Netflix and Prime and all that have ruined programs for me because if it's not going to drop it all at once, I'm probably not going to watch it until it's finished.
Yeah.
But, and And then speaking of obviously TV series stuff like that, Mortal Kombat then goes and brings out their movie in 1995